Hello everybody, Average Gamer here, and welcome to another Let's Talk. In this episode, manufacturer's weapons. Now, what I mean by that is something very simple. So, in the Battletech universe, there are multiple different, just as it is in real life, multiple different manufacturers making multiple different types of weapons, and all that stuff. So, especially with playing Harts of Iron 4 recently, you can pick manufacturers to give your units a generic buff across the board. Hard attack, soft attack, aircraft maneuverability, range, things like that. So, what I was thinking was, with all these businesses in Battletech, all you gotta do is type in the name of any mech, bring up its stat sheet through Sarna, and every weapon has the name of a manufacturer. There's tons of different names and all that stuff. So, what I was thinking was this. What if, when you pick a mech, so for example here I've got my Phoenix Hawk, and I've got all my lasers. What if, after I pick a laser, so just take this medium laser off real quick, I grab my medium laser, put it on. Once I put it on, it gives me the option of, say, 3 different companies. So from here on out, no mechs really get, well, the mechs themselves, right? Chassis get quirks. But also the weapons themselves get modifications. They'll have a positive and a negative, right? So for example, one company gets me disconnected from Mechwarrior Online when I select the manufacturer. That would probably be Cisco. If I pick Cisco as a manufacturer of my laser weapons, it disconnects me from the from the server. So back to where I was going there. So if you pick certain manufacturers, you'll get positive and negative quirks or modifications. So for example, with laser weapons, your heat's better, so it generates less heat, and you say you don't shoot as far. Another one, say your range is farther, but your duration's longer. Something where it's both positive and a negative, and you pick, multiple different types of manufacturers. So you can have 2 different guns, lasers, from 2 separate manufacturers. So you have 2 medium lasers, but one's made by Company A, that gives you more range, but more duration. And then the other one's made by Company B, which gives you better heat efficiency, but we'll say worse range. Or shorter or longer duration. Well, actually, no, because the longer the duration, the more it will cause heat, right? So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of things here that could be, we'll say, modified a little bit. So for ballistics, right? Range, cooldown, even a reloading speed, right? Or a cooldown speed would be really, really good. In addition, AMS, multiple different companies. What I would like to see is a possible upgrade of the AMS system, which I'll get into in an episode tomorrow for the, I think it's called the L AMS, which we'll get into tomorrow. But yeah, so multiple different ways of getting little extra bonuses towards your weapon systems. To try and bring in that lore, that storytelling, that stuff that's in the game that, you sit there and you read the books and you look at it, you're like, so-and-so had a blank, AC-20 or this Marlon or whatever it's called. You're like, okay, well, what does that AC-20 have better than another company's AC-20? Oh, look at that. The General Motors AC-20 had issues with its reliability. It had a jam chance. Look at that. But it was shot a lot faster. So the AC-20 from General Motors has a plus 10% to its cooldown, but a plus 20% to its jam chance. Something like that. Or even like ECM. Some ECMs were longer range, some were even more efficient, like more effective. But they had drawbacks. Some caused heat. Some would, actually fail. It would be kind of entertaining if you can get an ECM that has say, a 25% efficiency bonus to it, meaning that it works 25% more and jams 25% more, still within the 90 meters, but it has a 5% failure rate on it. So you know, for the majority of the match, your ECM is going to be working perfectly fine, and actually even better than normal. So you'll be jamming people like crazy. You can even jam, UAVs, stuff like that. But at a certain point, it will overload. It could overload at the beginning of the game, the middle of the game, may not even overload at all. But somewhere in there, it will cause, say, a spike in your heat. It'll cause, say, give you a critical damage, a crit to your torso. So you're going from 90% heat, 90% health or 100% health down to 70% health. But offset by the fact that might happen once every 10 games. And you get all these bonuses towards your ECM. So, I mean, that long-range sniper build that you have is even better. Or you can even stay in with the big guys and they don't have to worry about LRMs at all. They just don't have to worry about you blowing up from the inside. Certain Gauss rifles, right? We'll say their projectile fires faster. But they have a longer reload time. Because, the rounds are different. Some weapons are click, and they only fire as long as you're holding onto the button. Say, for example, I don't know. Lots of different options for all the different companies, right? And I would kind of give every mech its little different changes. I mean, everyone wants to talk about balance, right? Every mech has to be perfectly fine. Everything has to be the same. If it's a medium, all mediums have to be equal. All heavies have to be equal. All assaults have to be equal, and all lights have to be equal. To be 100% honest with you, looking at all the books, looking at everything, it's not supposed to be equal. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's just the way the game's designed. Or just the way the whole system around it is designed. What it's designed to do is have a whole bunch of people work together. Everyone has a value, right? That value is associated with what you're running, what you have, and, all that stuff. And then they take that value of every robot, combine it together, and say it equals a value of 100. Therefore, you go against another team of a value of 100. There you go. So 2 hunchbacks in front of each other, 2 hunchback 4Ps, you can't really go for the whole, making everything on the even keel, right? You can't make everything the same, which I'll get into in another video later this week. But the fact that everyone's asking for conformity with all the mechs, and they want everything to kind of be balanced, quote unquote, and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's impossible to balance these things. You can't have one mech that can carry 9 hard points at, say, 50 tons or 55 tons with the hunchback, and then have a mech that's the exact same tonnage carry less weapons. But then it ends up but at the same time, you can have the same damage output from the two of them if you carry 2 different weapon systems. But if you change out of those norms, they both get all wonky. So, we'll get into the whole balancing thing in another episode. Anyways, so now that I lost track here, so businesses. So what you can also bring them into is these manufacturers is into the engines. Different engines also work better. Some have better efficiency. Some don't go as fast, but have their bonuses, right? Sensor systems, computer systems, targeting systems. There are so many different options when you bring in a lot of these companies and say, okay, well, you put on your XL300 engine. What company did you want with it? Here's the 4 companies. Those are the 4 main companies that manufactured the XL300 engine. Or even then, just have a huge list. I mean, all they got to do is generate generic, one random positive and 1 random negative quirk, or ones that at least make a little sense. Like, if it gives you more speed, obviously it's not good. It's not as good as it's not as good heat efficiency. If it's slower, its heat efficiency is going to be better. With the new power draw system, that could bring into the whole thing where certain engines have extra batteries or power systems in them that create that extra power draw. So that's that for that episode from manufacturers. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time. In the next episode, as I said, balancing. Bye-bye.